can you say something so I can see the volume?
Hello, hi. Omega. Good. I can put it high if you want.
No, no, it's fine.
Good.
uh, all right. Hey everyone, coldbrew here. Welcome back to another Raid Challenge video. We're in the test server today because the main server, the live server, has a maintenance. So we hopped on here with the one and only YST. It's the first time he's over to the channel for a collab. So what's up, dude? Welcome to the channel.
Yeah, it feels nice to finally be in the Talarian realm of the Armigas and the Cupidus and all of them great champions. Yeah, cool to be here.
All of those great champions. Thanks for coming over, man. We just finished the collab over on his channel, so definitely check it out. I'll put a link down in the description and comments of the video, so you guys can see what we did over on his channel, and of course do all the good things like subscribing and liking his videos. So getting started. So why I wanted to do this video, this specific video for today, is that there is a competition started by Ray today about HP burn champions, and specifically how to beat the spider with those. It won't only be about that one, but we'll discuss every single champion that we'll list. So through this competition, you can even earn gems if you manage to win it, and there's already multiple submissions in there. I had a look over at all of those great teams that people have built. I'll also put a link down to that if anybody's interested, but if you go Discord, you might have seen it already from Raid's official channels. So getting started, we're going to be listing out our champions that we think are the best in the HP burn category, where those are primarily used for the spider. They're used in many different places of the game, but of course the spider is notorious for using HP burns to beat it, especially difficulties 21 to 25. That's where the HP burns shine compared to anything else for under 21 to 25s. So YST, let's get you started with your first champion for your list.
All right then. So the first one is actually one I use on a daily basis, and it's gonna be Tyrant Ixlimor from the Demon Spawn.
Right, the one I don't have.
Oh, you don't have a Tyrant?
No, no, no. I don't have a Tyrant. He was always a fun to think about and use him, especially for clan boss teams. Not so much for the spider, but because he does have, I would say, the AoE HP burn, right? That's why you
Yeah.
think he's so good.
So I
And
think he's one of the best because of his duration. Because traditionally on an AoE HP burn it's for a 2-turn duration, but on this champion it's actually a 3-turn. So it allows you not needing someone like a Kaimar to get the reset in to place the extra burns. Because as long as you're speed tuned, the 3 turns is more than enough to kill off the spiderlings. And that's kind of
yeah.
how I like to run it. The reset would mainly be if you want to proc extra turns on your cold hearts or stuff like that. But as long as you've just got like turn meter control, it's pretty nice to have a Tyrant in there.
Actually, this is crazy, but I never realized it's 3 turns duration for him. It makes
Yeah,
him even better, exactly from what you mentioned, because there's other setups where you need to have a way to reset that HP burn to get it over again, especially if you're using something like a Cicia, which consumes the HP burns, and they can actually expire, and the boss will not even be down by that time. So you'll need another set of debuffs going on these spiderlings to get it done. But this guy actually helps make the runs faster, and he
yeah,
actually has more stuff to make his HP burns more valuable, like the damage inflicted by enemies under HP burns by 10%. That is huge, not only for spider, which also hits hard, but for clan boss if you're doing a non-unkillable team. So yeah, definitely a solid pick there.
yeah.
I
The way that I like to use him as well is I actually do use a reset champion, but because it's a hit, right? Being
Right.
able to just place it first means that you don't get into that rhythm of, sometimes you're placing too many hits and then you end up killing the spiderlings. This is
Yes.
great because you just have to place it once and you don't have to target any spiderlings ever again. So it's just pure burns because you can have like cold hearts and stuff, right?
And he can
So
also protect your team with the ally protection in case the spiderlings aggro and you don't have a freeze or stun to control them. He can help them survive a little bit longer, especially those cold hearts, which can be one-shot hit sometimes if you don't have
yeah.
the gear. Let's go over to my next champion in my list. It's gonna be an HP burn champion, but a void one, which I had a lot of fun with her on the test server way back when she was launched. She is Tormesia.
Ooh.
Tormesia is so good. She's used for all difficulties, regardless of what. And the reason that she is in my top list is because of this skill, which applies the HP burn for again 3 turns as Tyrant, but she also applies the stun, so she does the same thing with one skill. So she locks out the spiralings and also does the HP burn. And this is very important to lock them out, guys. If you didn't know, the stun mechanic still helps to do the damage. It doesn't stop the HP burn from happening. They still take a turn, and the HP burn ticks off on all the small spiralings and the big boss as well. And this helps reduce the time significantly when you're beating the spider. Do you have her? Do you have Tormesia?
I wish I had a Tormesia, but she'd
Oh,
be amazing because in my team right now I use an Astrolon for the stun, right? But if I had a
okay.
Tormesia, I would remove Tyrant and Astrolon, and then I'll just put her and then an extra Cold Heart, and that would speed up my
Yeah,
runs by at least 10 seconds.
for
So I wish
sure.
I had her. Yeah.
Yeah, I use her currently for my Spider 25 team, and she can bring in some big times. As long as you got some other champions in there, your Spider times can be reduced a lot. And I think the next one in your list is going to be the one that I'm thinking about. I think you had Cicia in your list.
Oh, yeah. So next up is gonna be Miss Cicia, who I actually don't have on my account, but it doesn't mean we don't know how good she is.
Yeah,
So
yeah, of course.
Sissy is outstanding. If you guys see, probably the world record teams is using her and that kind
Yeah.
of burn explosion, detonating everything, and kaboom. So yeah, she's
She
solid.
she's such a cool champion because of that. And when she was launched, people were like, okay, that looks good, but how does it actually works? It's very different to what you would think on how to build a Cicia. Like you go totally the different direction than any other champion. You don't equip her with any gear. You don't. She
Yeah,
doesn't need accuracy for the HP burn to be to explode, and she shouldn't have any damage. That's the ideal way to build the Cicia because it is so hard to actually get that fast time. The way that I have mine built, just to give you guys an idea of what I'm saying, just instead of just saying it, I'll just show you. It's my Cicia. It's I gotta find her first. Let's see.
she's
Let's
hiding
see.
from you. She's like, no, I don't want you to
She's
see me
she
naked.
hiding. Oh yeah, she's in my main squad of champions. Because I
There
moved a
she is.
lot around.
Oh
So
my.
there she is. She's got like 3 pieces of gear, and still this is a little bit too high for my liking. So she's a 169 speed with 3 items, no attack, barely any crit. The crit damage she has is not from the gears, from Great Hall and the Masteries, which I should remove actually, and no accuracy at all. The reason for that is that you want to have her just using the A2 skill. That's the only reason you want to have her, and she is so good. And there's teams that use 2 of them actually instead of anything else. So fantastic HP burn champion. HP burn activation champion helps to get those fast times and do more CVC points. I guess that's why everybody wants her from the end game players. So let's have a look at the other champion from my list. I'm gonna go to the epics Sacred Order with Mordecai.
Ooh.
So Mordecai, I don't know if you remember, he was used for a fusion thing or fragment collections.
Yeah, I remember that. I can't remember who
Must
it was for though.
No, me neither, but he was a fusion champion, and I was so disappointed that I had to sacrifice him, and it took me so long, I think, to get it. Wait, do I have one? Or is he one of the ones that I got and then never got again? I think I never got one again after that, and he's just, oh, I could use Mordecai, but I don't have Mordecai to showcase this team for Hydra, and he is so good because he places the HP burn with his A3 skill. So people out there, the placing of HP burns doesn't care about affinity. So it's not a hit. It has to be a hit. That's why I think he's on the top 10 list, because he can do any affinity that you want, but he still needs the accuracy. So you still have that 3% chance to be resisted. But he's
Yeah.
still, even with that, he's still very good. And if you guys have seen the faction games, you saw Ivy using Mordecai to get her fastest team with this champion specifically. And the Terminator reduction is just a big boost to anything that you need to make a team work for Spider, I would say. And the accuracy is just a bonus if you're lacking a little bit of accuracy to get to that 200 mark.
Yeah, I think that's really solid because I know a lot of people have issues with trying to build damage for their cold hearts, and having him in the lead position with that accuracy aura is pretty huge. And he's got that increased attack buff as well with that burn to
Yep.
just kind of, if you've got some rubbish stats on your champions and you're just trying to up it up, it's a great way to do that.
Yep, yep. Next one.
Next up's gonna be one of the Doomtower champions in a Coffin Sid. It's
All
a
right.
champion that I used like maybe once or twice, mainly because I don't really need him, but he's definitely got a lot of use. Where is he?
Oh,
I can't remember where he is. He might be Demon Spawn, maybe.
demon spawn. Yeah.
There he
He's
is. Third champion.
yeah, yeah.
There we go.
There he is. So good. Such a good champion. I actually use him in my spider team right now because I don't have Mordecai, so I have to use this guy where he attacks and applies the HP burn. It's a fantastic skill, but you need to use this one in areas where there's lots of enemies because it's not 100% chance on its own. It
Yeah,
depends on how many enemies you have against you. So the HP burn can only be applied really with multiple enemies out there, but still works for the spider as you want it to. And he's one of the earlier rewards from the Doom Tower, so it's not like he's far away. I think he's the second one after
yeah, I think it's Archmage
Helmet.
Helmet, and then it's a Coffin Sid. I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not that far away. It's not unrealistic to get him within a year or something of playing the game. And if you're still having issues with the spider, he just helps you unlock any
Yeah.
of the difficulties.
That first batch of Doomtower champions was definitely good choices. I think. Like
Yeah,
they
especially the
they kind
epics.
of yeah, they put in like stun champions, they put in burns, dark hails. That was a nice one, and now they're kind of just falling off with some randomness. I don't
Now
know
they
what's going on.
just don't care anymore. They
Yeah.
just throw anything that they want and hope
Yeah.
hope that people like it. Next one in my list is gonna be Ignatius. So
Yeah.
Ignatius is very similar now to Dreng because of the way that he works. I don't have Ignatius, but I like to use him when I see him in teams. When I'm like, if I do a takeover and I want to do an HP burn team, I'm gonna use Ignatius if he's there because of the HP burn that's unresistible. So this helps reduce the amount of gear you need, and because this guy can hit with his defense, you kind of don't want to build him with any damage. So
Yeah.
you just again build him with as few gear as possible for the spider. But if you want to do more stuff, of course you'll need to give him some gear. But you have to be very careful with the HP burns and how it works with champions such as these. The only reason that I like him so much is because it's unresistible and it helps reduce the requirement for gear for lower end accounts.
Yeah, he's got that nice provoke as well on the A2. So if you're struggling like with off affinities, he's able to just determine where it's going, put that burn out, place that provoke, and let your other champions get through their skills and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, fantastic kid, I would say. And he could be in my top 10 list maybe for champions. Just to have him
Yeah.
again for the damage, the pure damage that he does. Not so much for the HP burn, but for my account, for what I could use him, he could be there.
Yeah, so the next champion's actually going to be one that you briefly mentioned, and it is going to be Walking Tomb Dreng. And I
Right.
think in terms of pure burns, I think he's better than Ignatius. And
Hmm.
it comes
Yep.
down to the cooldowns because this
Yeah.
is the same skill but on a 3 turn cooldown. And I think that is just insane and it cannot be resisted. Like it's it's crazy. Also on the A1, he does that instant detonation, and it doesn't need accuracy at all to do this. So you can place those burns, instantly activate them, very similar to a ninja. And I think what makes that A1 so good is it's not like it could be anyone's burns. It doesn't have to be Dreng's.
Yeah.
So that's pretty nice. And also that equalize HP on the A3, making sure that everyone
Helps.
has some nice health and stuff.
Yeah, this guy was very surprising to me because he was a fusion. Well, fragment collection to be strict with the wording there. He is so good because he doesn't need any accuracy at all. So immediately makes things easier for everybody out there, not just
Yeah.
the people who have already some good gear, some great hole bonuses already maxed out or at least leveled halfway, which helps get to those those specific points of accuracy that you need, let's say for dungeons, and then for Doom Tower you need a little bit higher, or Hydra it goes to crazy amounts. This guy doesn't care about that. It's like, okay, put some gear on me and I'll do the work. I don't care about accuracy at all. So he was definitely a very solid fusion to be included by raid.
Yeah, I love it because even well, I guess the only downside of Dreng is affinity for stage 25. So you
Mm.
might want to stick to 24, but because you don't need accuracy, he could be a really good target for the spiderlings as well if you just build him with high resist, high sustainability and stuff. Still get
Yeah.
some burns out.
Next one in my list is gonna be Crypt King Groll. And if we go over to the Undead Hordes, you'll see this dude. He is so good. He was even buffed. I was so surprised about this. So the way that I used him right now is for the freeze that he does. I strictly use him for the freeze, but he can be used on his own. Like you don't even need to have a full team if you want to do, let's say, Spider 20. You can be you can do some fun things with this guy because he can first apply the HP Bird with his A2 skill, and then he can go over and do a freeze if you have him fast enough. I think Scratch did that for his video
Yeah,
with
for
faction
his
games, and showcased like you need to have a Crypt King very fast, 300 speed, which is insane for so many people out there, but still showcases the two skills that he has together, both of how freezes work and also how HP burns work with the freeze, and help you get those fast times for Spider.
yeah, he's kind of like a legendary what's her name? The Attract the Wenderin. That's
Okay,
what
yeah, yeah, I checked.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's it's very
great
similar to
for the
that.
freezes.
Yeah. But with her, it's not as good as a Kip, the what's his name, Crypt King Growl.
Yeah,
It's not as good as that, but she's pretty solid as well, I guess.
yeah. So you mentioned the check. At the first time he was out, I was thinking, oh, this guy can actually even apply HP burns, but it's very difficult for his HP burns to apply in the spiders. Then it doesn't
Yeah,
work as you think. He just applies the freeze because it's conditional on the way that he works. So that's why he's not in our list in terms of HP burn. I would say
yeah,
it's very tough to get this going compared to having a guaranteed HP burn. He's just used there for the freezes, really.
yeah. I'd say if you want to take him into any spider whatsoever, if you don't want to just use the freezes, the Frost Spider, he's really good there.
Mm,
The Attack the
right.
Wenderin. Yeah.
Yeah. I think
Um.
it's your final one. I think.
I think did I just say no? Who did you just say? Kit King Growl. Okay.
Right.
So the next one's gonna be not an AOE champion, but it's gonna
Right.
be one that everybody can get, and that is Drexthar Bloodtwin.
Right. He can actually do almost like an AoE, right? You mentioned
Yeah,
that before we started the video. Yeah.
I'd say mainly because you got the provokes, right? And he kind of reflects burns based on being hit. So if you're able to place that provoke, let the spiderlings hit him, make him a tank, you're still able to get those burns out in like a slow team, maybe with a miscreated monster or something like that. I think just for the average player trying to get into like stage 20 or trying to push stage 25 for the first time, he really does have a lot of capabilities for it for sure, in my opinion. Maybe not the
Yeah.
fastest, but he's attainable,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Not the fastest, but the one that you can clearly see as a goal to achieve as a new player. You're a free to play. You're trying to get more champions, and you see him there in the bazaar, and you think, okay, what does this guy do? You search on YouTube, you see 1,000 videos about Drexthar. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
I guess I should go for this guy. Why is he so good? He does so many things, and one of them is HP burns with the spider, and it's not only for the spider. I think he really shined with the Doom Tower and how useful he could be
Oh
for
yeah.
many of the bosses. Not just the Frost Spider, but other bosses like the
Nether
what's it called,
Spider,
the
Eternal
griffin,
Dragon. Yeah.
even with getting attacked and then applying the HP burn, that helps with the damage potential, and he's tanky, so he can
Mm.
survive more than others, even if he's bad affinity. I think because usually it's spirit, right, the griffin, but he's still used.
Yeah, Spirit and Magic, yeah.
Yeah. So when he's spirit, he is bad affinity. So since you mentioned single target, I think I'm not gonna go over to Geomancer because you mentioned him. We're gonna leave him last as an
Yeah,
honorable mention, I would say. But I'm
yeah.
gonna go again with single target just to remind people of a Night Revenant rare champion, just so that people understand on how good even rares can be with HP burn. So this skill right here, the A2, applies an HP burn on a single target, which is not that helpful for the spider. But Coffin Smasher as a rare has one of the best kits possible for an account that's slowly starting to go. And my free-to-play season 2 covered Coffin Smasher. I had him in the account, took him to level 60, and the decreased attack helps your team survive. The HP burn again helps your team do more damage. He does it on his own, and then he survives through this with a little bit of damage reduction from AoE attacks. This is huge. For the spider, if you want to use something like Coffin Smasher, this is assuming you've got crazy champions such as Vizier. You can use the single target HP burn and then extend it through a debuff spread that Vizier does. The debuff spread is on his A3, and there's other champions that do debuff spreads as well. So if you have a bad luck with the HP burns, you choose a single target HP burn, and then you spread it around, and that's also gonna drop the spider. So just giving that in the end for this one. And of course, maybe you can cover Geomancer as the final one. Again, the single target, it's insane, right?
Yeah, Geomancer just unlocks so much potential for people's accounts. He's like probably one of the most wanted epics in this game, I think, from a lot of people. Like I think even just for the main spider, being able to fully deplete that turn meter with that burn, I think that's what makes him. Obviously, we're talking about spiders today. I think that's where he can really fit into your teams. Let's just say you're doing stage 20, you've only got one cold heart. He's able to just come through, steal that turn meter, get those burns out, and as you were saying before with Vizier, you could just like do a debuff spread and get on the spiderling. So
Geomancer is a legendary. He's a legendary. It's so good. So good. This is a 3-turn cooldown that can even become like almost a 2-turn. If he fully depletes, gets 100% turn meter back, it's like 2 turns. That's how I got to Faction Wars 21 with him when he was pretty much when he was launched. I was still trying to do Faction Wars, I think, and I had him. Or what did I use him on my free to play? I can't remember, but he was so good, so good for that HP burn plus steal of the turn meter, and plus all of his other skills make him like a must-have, I would say.
I think even for loads of players struggle to get that weekend champion into their team for the Spider 20, and because he's got that weekend in that A3 as well, you could just come in with one drop defense, bring him into fully deplete, nuke, and there's your Spider 20 team.
Yeah, 100%. All right, man. I think we did cover them, all of these champions. I'll put links to the other collab we did with YST over for his channel. Definitely go check it out, guys. Thank you so much. YST, thanks, dude. It was very good to have you over, and we should do more collabs in the future, right?
Yeah, 100%. Like, it's been so overdue. Like,
I
don't know how it's never happened. I think you're like the only creator that I've not actually done a proper collaboration with. So it's pretty cool to like tick it off the Pokedex.
Yeah, it's great. It's great to have you over, man. Right, guys. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you over at YST channel. See ya.